Wallace, and I will be doing program activity assignment 1 over how dance and celebration can be incorporated into youth activity programs. So our first activity is going to be called the circle jump. This is going to be catered specifically towards our high school and middle school students. And for this activity, the purpose is going to serve as an icebreaker at the beginning of a youth program. What they'll do is they'll share a dance with the rest of the group, and the youth are going to be forced to leave their comfort zone. Since at some stage all the youth will be the center of attention, this activity has the potential to break down some social barriers that might exist between some of our youth. This leads to our objectives, which are to break down social barriers that exist between youth, whether that be popularity or unfamiliarness. Youth will engage in creative self-expression by means of dance, and lastly, youth will become more comfortable socializing with the group. For this, we're going to have a gymnasium, and we're going to need about 10 minutes. Our supplies are going to be a music playing device and speakers that can be paired with that device. For this program, what's going to happen is the facilitator is going to form a circle comprised of all the youth. The instructor will play music. The instructor will start off the program by entering the middle of the circle and performing a dance for 15 to 20 seconds. All the members of the circle will then follow that dance and reiterate it in their own fashion. So one member will be in the middle, and all the members circled around them will do the same dance as them. This will continue in a clockwise fashion where students will jump into the middle of the circle, perform their dance, and all those surrounding them will emulate the same dance as them. At the very end, the instructor will cut the music, and then in a counterclockwise manner, the youth will tell the group which dance was their favorite. So to reflect on this, we're going to look at things like, how did being told that you would be dancing in front of the group make you feel? After performing for the group, then how did you feel? Was it the same or different than how you felt when the activity was introduced? We want youth to realize that at the beginning of this activity, a lot of stress was associated with having to perform in front of the entire group. But that once they saw everyone else do it, once they did it themselves, that a lot of that stress was deburdened by the fact that they weren't alone in this activity, that everyone was being forced to leave their comfort zone. We also want to ask them whose dance was their favorite, and why did they like that specific dance. This is in the hopes that they potentially seek out that individual afterwards and feel more comfortable introducing themselves. Lastly, how does having watched everyone else dance make you feel? Do you feel more comfortable approaching and introducing yourself to other participants after the activity? No youth is super enthusiastic about having to jump into the middle of a group of their peers and perform for them. The hopes is that these youth realize that the stresses involved with this activity are not all that significant when everyone has to participate, and help break down those social barriers in the means that these youth end up engaging with others in their program. Ways that we can apply this to their lives is, how difficult was it for you to leave your comfort zone and dance for the group? And did it end up being that big of a deal? Did you have to interact with others to participate in this activity? The hopes is that they realize and can apply this to their life, that the stress associated with this situation is merely the perception of stress. That once the activity is done, it's done. There's not all that involved with it. We also want them to realize that in order to ease their stress, participation with others is necessary. Did you chat with the person next to you? Did you observe the person in the middle? How did your interactions with others help you better tackle this activity? In order to evaluate if this activity was successful, at the end of the exercise, we'll see if all of the youth interacted with or highlighted their favorite dances with others. We'll also see if at the end of the exercise, youth performed a dance movement that worked for the allotted amount of time. 15 to 20 seconds of dancing in front of your peers can be a lot, so we want to see if the youth were able to hold up to that stress. At the end, if all the youth socialized with others and felt that they formed a connection with another youth, then we have successfully facilitated this program. Next, we're going to go to our freeze dance program. This is specifically for our elementary to high school, and it's going to be about 15 minutes, and it's going to be, again, needed in a gymnasium or a large open space. Our hope is that youth will be able to release some pent-up energy to be able to better focus on other activities associated with the program, that they will have a level of competition with each other, and that they're able to do some sort of self-introduction. This is meant to be some type of icebreaker game. So We'll need for this game, again, a device that plays music and speakers that correspond to that device. For this game, the instructor will play music and abruptly pause at random intervals. The youth will dance while the music is playing and freeze when the audio is cut. Instructors will walk around the room monitoring youth for movements that have happened after the music has been paused. Youth that are seen moving after the music is shut off are eliminated from this and sent to the sideline. Those that are still out can continue to dance on the sideline if they would like to try and distract those playing the game. The music will be started and stopped until a single participant exists that has yet to break the pause rule. So some goals for this is that we'll have youth on the sidelines trying to distract their peers, to kind of teach the importance of focus to our youth, of attention to detail. So when we're reflecting on this assignment, we want to ask a few questions. Were you able to get some pent-up energy out of this game? Did this movement help you be able to sit still? Were you able to get all that energy released? Also, what do you think it was that made you keep dancing after the music was cut? Was there a certain stress factor, a distraction, that made you continue to dance after the music was stopped? Also, what is one thing you'd do differently if the group played another round? We want youth to really think about what it was that kept them from doing this program successfully, or what it was that helped them do this program successfully. And that will lead to our applications. We want youth to really think about what strategies they use to remain focused on the task at hand, and listen for those music shut-off cues. Once they've developed and understand those strategies, how can we use these focus strategies on tasks such as school, work, and sports, or other activities that require a lot of our focus? When your friends are dancing on the sideline and you're trying to remain still, it can be a huge stressor. How did they overcome this, and how can this help them in their everyday life? We'll evaluate the success of this program if all of the youth are actively, enthusiastically dancing, pausing, and trying to win the game. This is a competitive game, and we do want the youth to have that vigor in this program. We'll also see if the youth present as calmer and less energetic after the activity. Did they really get all of that energy out? And lastly, were our youth able to come up with effective strategies they used to prohibit them from dancing when the music was paused, and able to understand the real-world applications of those strategies? If all three of these are met, we've evaluated a successful program. Next, we're going to have our emoji dance, which was formerly known as the emotion dance, but has since been adapted to a younger growing audience that is more familiar with the faces of emojis than the names of emotions. This will be towards our middle school and high schoolers. Our goal is to engage youth in a dance-related activity that helps them connect with the physical manifestation of their feelings. Youth aren't always good at verbalizing their feelings, so we want to try and find a way to elicit these emotions without them having to verbally speak them. Our objectives will be that the youth develop emotional understanding, they have the opportunity to express their emotions, and that we can elicit a response of playfulness from our participants. Although we want to engage our youth in a deeper understanding of their emotions, we do understand that they are still young, and we do want to have that sense of playfulness. If there's a crying, laughing emoji, we don't expect every single participant to take it seriously. We do want to have some fun in our program, as well as some education. So supplies you'll need for this are going to be a device that plays music, compatible speakers, and cutouts of emojis representing a large range of emotions. How we'll run this program is that the youth will gather around the instructor, who has a variety of emoji cutouts, as the instructor plays music. Of course, the instructor will play age-appropriate music and periodically hold cutouts of different emojis representing a range of emotions. In response, the youth will do a dance they associate with the corresponding emoji. Throughout the exercise, the programmer will hold up all these different emojis. Youth will change their dance in association with that presented emoji. After the activity concludes, the youth will explain which dance was their favorite. They will also choose which emoji was their favorite and why they chose the dance they did to represent that emoji. Our hope is that this helps facilitate a better understanding of youth's own personal emotions. Which emoji stood out to you the most and why? This goes into our reflection. Which emoji dance did you enjoy the most? Why did you choose the corresponding dance to represent this emoji? Which emoji was the most important to you? And what do you feel the association with your favorite emoji and dance has to do with your emotions? So we want youth to understand that there were specific emojis that stood out to them more. Why was it that the smiley face stood out to you? Why was it that the questioning face stood out to you? Why was it that the heart eyes stood out to you? Why are these emotions ones that are more important to you? And that'll lead into our application. After vocalizing the emoji that corresponds with you the most, how can you use this realization to understand your own emotions? What ways can you implement this understanding of your own emotions to facilitate your feelings in everyday life? This will also be used as a way for facilitators to filter out and resonate with some students that may be representing emotions that are not all that positive. This can help screen for students that may be asking for help in a very, very subtle way. So this is very important that facilitators and instructors pay very close attention to which emojis facilitate which responses from our students. For evaluation, if all of our youth have grasped the emotions they resonated with the most, then we've met our first objective. And if youth feel they have portrayed the emoji's emotions correctly, we've met our second objective. And again, we understand that we are working with youth. And lastly, if the youth have expressed themselves in a safe environment and in an age-appropriate way, playfully and having fun, then we have met our third objective. It is specifically coordinated towards our middle school audience. This is going to be needing an empty classroom and outdoor space. It'll take about 15 minutes depending on the class size, and we will need a device that is compatible with playing music and associated speakers. The goal is the activity is for youth to learn each other's names as well as develop memory skills and creativity. This is an icebreaker and name game. So our objectives are that youth will learn the names of the two participants before and the two participants after them in the activity. We hope they develop memory skills as well as come up with creative dances that represent themselves. So in order to facilitate this, the instructor will gather the youth in a circle. The instructor will start the activity by saying their own name, followed by a dance that they believe represents their personality. Going clockwise, youth will repeat the names of the two individuals before them, perform their dances, then introduce themselves and perform a dance that represents themselves. The youth individual dances cannot be a duplicate of a dance someone else has done, thus emphasizing creativity. This process will continue until the last participant in the circle is reached. So our goal is to hope that youth will remember the names of participants before them, whose names they had to recite, and participants after them who said their own name. To reflect, we're going to ask students, do you remember the names and dances of the individuals before you? Do you think that the dance you chose accurately represents who you are? Whose dance was your favorite? Why was this your favorite? Our hopes that youth were able to creatively represent themselves, learn others' names, and maybe after observing others' dances, feel more comfortable introducing and getting to know others in the group. Some ways that we can apply this to our lives is think how the other individual's interpretations of your dance represents you. Does this accurately represent you? With your comprehension of how they represented you versus your own image of yourself, how can you understand how other people's perceptions accurately or inaccurately display your sense of self? This is a very, very large topic to introduce to youth, so we'll be doing it at a very fundamental level. But it's very important that youth understand that no matter what they do, others' interpretations of them will be different than their self-perception, and that their self-perception is the most important factor. We also want to know what strategies they use to remember other participants' names. If someone had a rather effective strategy, can they share that with the group? Can the rest of the group copy that strategy and implement this name remembering strategy to help them remember other people's names in a day-to-day life? As they grow older, remembering the names of those that they've met is going to be more fundamentally important. It presents itself in school, jobs, sports, something that is very important that youth take as a skill. We'll evaluate this to see if youth learned the names of two participants before them and two participants after them. If youth effectively remembered name strategies, if they were able to develop these strategies to remember the names of other individuals and shared them with the group. And lastly, do we think that youth were able to actively represent themselves in an accurate manner? We want to see if youth have a good representation of self-expression, as well as an understanding that others' interpretation of their self-expression is not indicative of who they are. Lastly, we're going to go to the animal dance. This is targeted to our very, very young audience, so we don't have as much of high expectations for them. The purpose of this activity is for youth to use their creativity to act out dances that represent associated animals. The game is designed to facilitate engagement in dance from our younger audience, as well as help them understand the animal kingdom a little bit better. So we're going to need an empty room. A classroom size will suffice for our younger audience, and this will only take about 10 minutes. For the materials, we'll need a device that can play music, compatible speakers, and cutouts of the animals related to the activity. To start off the activity, the group leader will introduce the animals associated with the activity. This is a much younger audience. We're not sure if they're going to know each individual animal we have ready for them. We want them to have an accurate understanding of these animals before we begin the activity. The instructors will play music and periodically hold up different cutouts of animals. The youth will then do a dance that they associate with the animal that is shown. Youth will change their dances to match the animal held up by the programmer. Our reflection for this will be rather simple. Did we enjoy the dance? Did we have fun acting out the animals? What animal was our favorite, and why was that animal our favorite? And lastly, why did we choose to use this dance to represent the animal that was shown? How do we display our knowledge in a physical manner? To apply this to our real life, we'll have multiple copies of the cutouts so that kids can take these home to their parents and then show the parents their favorite dance of their favorite animal. We also want to think about how our peers' dances may have helped us understand animals we weren't familiar with. Did your friend's dance of a crab help you better understand its pinchers? Did your friend's dance of an octopus help you understand its tentacles? We want youth to have gained some knowledge of the animal kingdom. In order to evaluate this, we'll see, did youth dance for each animal shown, or were they stumped by some of the animals that we showed? Were youth able to explain a new animal that they might have otherwise been unfamiliar with? And lastly, as this is catered to our much younger audience, were the youth smiling and laughing, or directly stating they had fun? We do want this to be a fun, engaging program that facilitates a small amount of learning for our youngest audience. Okay, y'all, we're going to be playing a game called Freeze Dance. So how this is going to work is that I am going to be playing some songs. As long as the song is going, you'll be dancing, you'll be moving, whatever you feel like you should do during the song, just make sure you're moving, being active. As soon as the music stops, you gotta freeze. No more moving. If you move at all, after the music stops, you'll be sent to the sidelines. Now, once you're out, you're not completely done with the activity. You can still participate if you'd like to. The goal of those of you on the sidelines is going to be to continue to dance after the music is stopped and distract our participants. You want to make it as hard for them as possible to continue on with the activity. So you'll be on the sidelines, music is paused, jumping, dancing, moving. You can't call out their names, you can't say anything, but you continue to move from the sidelines. You can't re-enter the main area, but you can move from the sidelines to try and distract them. Those of you that are still in, your goal is going to be to pause when the music pauses and dance when the music goes. If you move at all after the music is paused, unfortunately, you will be out. I'll give a little bit representation, so I'm going to play some music. As long as the music is going, I'm dancing, I'm moving, I'm going around. Music pauses, I stop. No more moving. Music goes again, I'm moving, I'm dancing, I'm jamming. Music stops, and I'm done again. Now, don't try to get too ambitious with your movements. We understand if you jump and you land, that doesn't count. But if you're doing a cartwheel or something, and your cartwheel is halfway done, and you're still moving after the music's done, you're out. So try and be as creative as you can with your movements without being too ambitious. When music is done, you're done dancing. We'll do a few rounds of this game, but Your goal is to be the last man standing. So everyone go spread out, make sure you got plenty of room, do a little circle, make sure that nobody's in your circle so you can dance a little bit. And when everyone's ready, give me a thumbs up and we'll go ahead and play the game. Okay, looks like we're ready. Freeze. Looks like Alex and Stacy, you're out, you're on the sidelines. Remember, you can still participate. Keep dancing, try and distract your friends that are still in. Grayson, you're out. You can still dance from the sidelines. We got 2 participants left. Whoever can continue to dance while the music is playing and freeze when the music is done, you'll be our winner. Okay, both still in, both still in. Okay, we're still going strong. Those on the sidelines, I'm gonna need to see a little bit more dancing from y'all. These 2 are real into it. I need some more distraction. Looks like Maddie's out. That makes Noah our winner. So I want everyone to come back to the front, and now that we've finished the program, since Noah's our winner, I want to know, what did you do that helped you focus, maintain that stopping when the music froze? Did you have any strategies that you implemented? Okay, interesting. So if you want to share those strategies with the rest of the group, and then I want you guys to take a second to talk and sit and chat and see how can we use those strategies that Noah used to win the game in order to apply those to our actual life. So when Noah was listening for those cues and not focusing on his friends and making sure he was focused on the task at hand, how can we take that and apply it to our homework, to any jobs that we might have in the future, to our sports? How do we drown out that excess noise in order to make sure that we're focused on what's in front of us?